Hello and welcome to this week's Career Networking Center conversation. Today we're joined with Executive Director of CNC, Kim White, Board Member and Volunteer, Devin, and a recent North Central graduate, Michael. Today we're talking about starting your career right after college. And Devin, I want to start with you. My son's graduating from college in the next year. He's had a lot of part-time jobs. What recommendation do you give to people like him who might not have the strongest resume or LinkedIn profile as they seek that first career job?
Yeah. Hi, Mike. I think that's a very common question we get all the time. And my best advice is really to have a good mix of accomplishments and experience and focus on whatever is transferable. Employers want to know what you've done somewhere before you can go and do somewhere new. So really focusing on those transferable skills.
Michael, from your experience and your friends, what kind of concerns do recent college graduates or even high school graduates have as they start looking for that first job?
Thank you. Great question. I think the first thing that comes to mind is work-life balance. So finding a company that has a great social responsibility and has some type of personal connection with the employee, and not just being a number or just a person that they just want to get work done. I think having also outside benefits other than just paychecks is something that we look into as well. And yeah.
Okay. And Devin, most of those high school and college graduates don't have the network built up that some of us have. They've been around for a long time, and we know how important networking is. What do you suggest to those folks regarding networking?
Yeah, I always say to take the advantage of what you have. And for some students, that's proximity. So that's professors, career resources, colleagues, previous managers or coworkers, anybody that you've worked with or spent time with is a great place to start because they can advocate for your skills or how you are. And then outside of that, you have the internet. And you have so many niche groups out there that if you're looking to start networking, as a graduate or a recent graduate looking to enter the workforce, you can follow the industries you're interested in. You can follow companies you're interested in. You can follow people. You can start using the internet and things like algorithms to take advantage of all these connections. And what you'll find is other people willing to make these relationships. So, when you approach your network, it's all about knowing what you want out of that networking and approaching people with kind of that prompt and saying, hey, I just graduated from this, university. I'm looking to learn more about XYZ. It's always about selling your curiosity and your stage because employers know that maybe you lack the experience. So what they want to see is the motivation and kind of the grit that you're getting out there to learn more about something.
Yeah.
And Devin, if I can ask a follow-up.
Just add to that real quick? And I think you elaborated on this a little bit, Devin, but make sure that you are casting your net wide. Like any and everyone you should be trying to pull into your network because you just don't know when you're going to, need that person or someone within a certain industry. So cast your net wide when you're
Absolutely.
And that's kind of what I was going to ask, Devin. Sometimes you hear like there's a certain number of LinkedIn connections you have to have. Should people limit themselves to the number of interests and organizations that they follow?
I think you definitely want some focus around quality. Quantity doesn't hurt, but you want to make sure whatever you're doing is a manageable amount for you. Not everybody is a skilled networker, and not everybody gets energized by all these micro connections or conversations. So if that's you, I think shoot for the moon if you want the quantity. But if that doesn't sound like you, then really start to hone in on the things you're looking or you're interested in. And so my answer is it depends. But there's no hard and fast rule. There's no exclusion of network connections that's going to kick you out of someone, but you do want some because you want to look relevant.
Michael, you've built up a pretty strong network, just graduating from North Central a year or so ago. How did you do it, and what tips would you give for others on how they could follow in your footsteps?
Yeah, so I will give it back to Devin with that first part of quality over quantity, because it really started with having a few quality connections that really opened the door to many, many, many connections that now I can't even like put a name to all of the people that have helped me get to the place I am now. Also, building your brand and being authentic with it. You know, at the end of the day, some people, like, they go all salesy with their network pitch, and then it just seems like there's no authentic connection. So being yourself by building your brand goes a long way, because if you're just being yourself, being authentic in what you do, what you have a passion for, then people will feed off of that. And they say, well, this guy is pretty cool, you know, let's help him out, versus coming off as just trying to, you know, get the next stepping stone to the next level, It comes off inauthentic, and people be less likely to help you. So build your brand, be authentic, and quality over quantity.
And I will just add to that, because I've seen Mikhail over the last year, how he has evolved, and, you know, after graduating from college, and you have really, your brand is so positive and so welcoming, that I've seen you, you know, win all these awards over the last year and just be in all these different places. So I think it's critically important. I love that you brought in the brand piece, because you can't, you know, speak one thing and show something different. And you've been very consistent.
Thank you so much.
Devin, you're one of the great CNC coaches on the team. How do you help these candidates prepare for an interview? This is their first real professional situation. So how does CNC help these people prepare?
Yeah, this is kind of a parallel of what Mikhail was just talking about. Knowing your brand and being memorable is almost more important than being over prepared for certain questions. And that's because employers see a lot of candidates. So the more true you are to yourself, the more differentiated you are from everybody else. And that makes you more memorable. And at the end of the day, and, you know, interview teams debrief and they go over everybody they spoke with. And the conversation is always the same. There's only so much time for every person. And there's always that one thing that someone remembers about that one candidate. And the easiest way to differentiate and make yourself memorable is really to be authentic and let your passions come through. So I always advise, if you're preparing for one of your first interviews, know how you want to represent yourself. Don't overextend. Don't try to say you can do 1,000 things, right? Really focus on a couple major themes and keep bringing those back into your answers or into your conversation during that interview, because it's going to enhance memory.
Love that.
Kim, we've talked a little about branding, about networking, LinkedIn, interviewing. What else does CNC offer to people as they're trying to figure out what their first career job should be?
Yeah, so first of all those things are important. And we do offer all of those things. But I think the other piece to it is really bringing that client in and getting to know that client, putting that client with one of our coaches. I'm going through an intake process. I'm understanding where the client is, you know, if they just graduated from high school, what is it they're looking to do? If it's college, you know, what kind of path are they looking to go? And really working with them to create a plan of action, if you will. So we're going to help them with career exploration, with networking, job search strategy, all those things. But also the other important piece is, you know, teaching them things about accountability and how to build that network. So we really do all of those touch points. I recently heard President Obama, who has a new podcast out where he's talking about workforce. And at the end of the day, the bottom line was, he said, you know, you hire these people and they, you know, they have the skill set to do the work. And his advice to the young people were, when you come to work, just come prepared to get stuff done. And so at the end of it all, you know, you have your brand, you have the things in front of you that you need, but you want to also be able to keep that job. So get in there and get stuff done, as President Obama said.
Well, we'll end on that. Our thanks to the panel. And if you'd like to learn more about all the ways the Career Networking Center can help you, go to the website, careernetworkingcenter.org. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks for joining.